support. With the Caitlyn being banned out, it's a strategy we talked about where teams tend to target Celaver, or have been doing in the last couple of days. And because MrRalleZ has played numerous other carries, including Jinx, for example, it is something that we need to remember. MrRalleZ can play other carries at a very high level.
We'll see whether they first pick that Lucian. That's what we may well see come out from Super Hot Crew here. And that's actually gave Roccat pause for thought here. They clearly want to ban away. They've gone for Orianna. That tells me they know something that Moopz has been doing in scrims.
Now I'm double checking my notes and I'm pretty confident Orianna was banned yesterday if memory serves as well. No, it's not. It was our theoretical picks for them. I'm taken away. So with the Orianna out of and not available, we still got your traditional mid laners. You've still got the likes of Gragas, you've still got Ziggs in there, you still have Kale, for example. You also have Assassins available, something that Overpow's played. He's run Kha'Zix before, but the entire field is open. So the question is now, do you want to take Thresh away from Vander, or do you want to take Lucian away from Celaver? Or in this case, it's going to be Gragas from Overpow.
Or just leave Thresh and Lucian both open for
There
Roccat.
are so many high priority picks, because if that duo lane gets locked in, it then means Super Hot Crew could grab the Trundle, for example. So this is a very interesting pick ban phase.
So Gragas first pick for Moopz. It is a champion that he's very comfortable on. And Roccat clearly discussing what two big champions do they take away from Super Hot Crew. I feel they're going to go for that support AD carry, although you know what? I don't think... I mean, he's got a lot of strong supports available. I was going to say, Annie is on the cards. Thresh is in there. Of course, he also goes for the Morgana, which he's been playing a number of times, but it clearly seems that it is that duo lane they want to lock in.
So for the record, if this Annie is locked in, it'll be the first time Vander's played this support. It'll be the 4th support that he's played. He's played Thresh, Morgana, then Lulu, and this has been locked in. So this is the first time we're going to see him on a new pick. I actually highlighted Vander as my player to watch yesterday for this exact reason. Vander has not played a multitude of champions, and he's finally expanding his pool.
Insta-locks for Super Hot Crew. They knew exactly what they wanted. Straight for the Pantheon, straight for that Renekton.
What this also means, with a Pantheon and Renekton combination, if Roccat do decide to lock in the Trundle, which is something that Xaxus has played multiple times, Renekton beats Trundle early, Pantheon ganks plus Renekton equals dead Troll, equals top lane victory in the first 10 to 15 minutes. But it does mean Impaler will be spending his time ganking top, if that happens that way.
Wukong's a potential pickup for Jankos here. The champion has definitely come to light over the last 3 weeks in the European season. At the moment, they're waiting to see what they go with. Of course, mid lane is also a possibility. You see Overpow on your screen there. Considerations, but it is going to be the Troll in that top lane, and we'll see how it goes up against that Renekton and Pantheon combo.
So this is somewhat predictable. I really feel like Super Hot Crew are going to invest some time into trying to punish Xaxus and trying to get Mimer ahead. We have also seen how powerful Mimer can be on a Renekton. It was the champion he was running when they defeated Gambit all those weeks back, 3 weeks ago. The one thing that Roccat do still have available to them is a mid lane pick that could either be an assassin that can get resets, they've got pretty good damage, or they could even go for the Ziggs, which is something Overpow's played, which would also give them some disengage against Super Hot Crew.
Well, this could be a strong duo lane combo for the Super Hot Crew. Jinx and Thresh added together. We saw migxa, how well he did on Thresh, of course, the same as Vander has done. So migxa picking a champion he is very strong on. MrRalleZ still deciding on this one. Jinx seems to be the AD carry he favors.
Now this is quite a fairly smart pick. Once MrRalleZ gets items, he's going to be able to actually destroy a Trundle or a Wukong once he gets those core damage items built up. The thing that he has to be very careful with is not having Trundle and Wukong on him at the same time. Super Hot Crew have got a very good combination at multiple things. They've got Gragas for engage, they've got Thresh for engage, they can run in, they can run out, they can disengage with that Gragas ultimate. Roccat are a little bit more linear. Trundle and Wukong are going to run at you, hopefully after being stunned by Tibbers. I want to see where their mid lane pick goes right now.
Well, Lulu was banned out. So what way will Overpow go? Could this be a Vlad in the mid lane? It's a champion we've seen played in, I think North America have ran this in the mid lane before, if memory serves.
Voyboy has played it. We have also seen it top lane earlier today from Youngbuck into Trundle. Yep. It can be a smart pick because you can avoid a lot of the damage that Super Hot Crew are putting down. It has been locked in. So you're going to be hoping for this sort of very strong combination of Tibbers plus Cyclone, and then allowing Trundle and Vlad to finish people off or stragglers that get pushed very low. I think Rockat's composition can also do well in skirmishing, but they've got to be a little bit careful because they are quite reliant on hitting multiple abilities together to win team fights.
Well, the Super Hot Crew are going to be chasing a victory here. Have they picked themselves a comp that could win?
Super Hot Crew have got, in my opinion, a lot more strength early. I think Gragas is going to hit a power spike much sooner than Vladimir. Renekton's going to hit a power spike much sooner than Trundle, and the impact that Impaler can have on lanes, thanks to his ultimate, the Grand Skyfall, is also going to be higher than Wukong. So, much like many of Super Hot Crew's comps, strong lanes, they need to get ahead early, and if they don't win a game by 30-35 minutes, Trundle plus Vlad scaling is going to be terrifying, and I'm very scared of how they're going to deal with those very strong uber late game champions.
Well, they have been able to close games out fast before. Remember the Gambit game, 13-1. So you guys at home, you have voted for the first place team here. Are you rooting for the underdog? Let's look at lollesports.com. According to you guys, 80% is the vote for Roccat. No surprises.
That is a very, very big vote. I wonder if the picks and bans would have affected anything. I wonder if seeing these champions, Gragas being played by Moopz, this is the 9th time he's played it. Out of 16 games, Moopz has now played Gragas 9 times, and he's got 5 wins on it. It's a positive win ratio. I also think that Gragas is a great pick. It can split up Vlad, it can split up Trundle, it can split up Wukong. Everybody that jumps in at you, just disperse them with that cask and try to control the team fight from there.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The game is loaded, and we are going in. Final game of Week 7. Who will it be? Super Hot Crew starting out as the blue side, playing from bottom to top, up against Roccat from top to bottom as the red team.
Now, I want to see how these lanes play out for Super Hot Crew and Roccat. One of the things that we've heard from many of the pros who run Jinx and who no longer like to run Jinx is they say they don't like to run Jinx into Annie. Because Jinx is very squishy and has no innate escapes, if Annie gets on you in conjunction with some damage from Celaver's Lucian, it could be early kill potential.
Look at the starting items. Boots, first item for Overpow.
And that's purely because he's against a Gragas. You know, because Vladimir's like so weak early on, there's that age-old myth that he hits his power spike at level 9 when your transfusion is now maxed down, and all of a sudden your cooldown's low enough to sustain and do poke. It is the truth, because it takes you multiple levels to scale up, and that boots are just going to allow him to mitigate some of the early barrel rolls that'll be coming up from Moopz.
In fairness, before the item nerfs of the Will of the Ancients, he was pretty horrifying of the level 9.
It's very interesting to see that we're now seeing more Vlad play, considering
there's been no changes since then.
Exactly. The champion itself has been unchanged, but his core items have actually been made less effective on him. You know, they've been targeted towards different areas of the game, and we still see that Hextech Revolver being picked up. It didn't get upgraded to...
We don't see 3 of them anymore, though, thank God.
Exactly. Thank goodness for that. The one thing I want to go back to these draw lanes is seeing how MrRalleZ plays with migxa. Generally, MrRalleZ and migxa are super aggressive. It could come back to bite them. It happened yesterday. They went aggressive on Vayne Annie, got stunned up, and Candy Panda got first blood. So they cannot make the same mistake they did yesterday and give up an early first blood.
See, blue buff start out for Impaler on Pantheon. Will be helped out with Mimer there. Meanwhile, of course, we see Jankos over on the red side, also helped out by Xaxus. So both top laners now heading towards that lane. No changes to any of the lanes. We'll see how this one works out between Overpow and Moopz in his mid lane. Overpow already trying to get some of that poke on towards him.
Yeah, and I think Overpow needs to try to use those transfusions on Gragas as much as possible. But at this level, the sustain from Gragas' passive, gaining some HP back whenever he casts a spell, will actually outscale that of Vladimir. Vladimir's transfusion, yeah, it gives him a nice, you know, spike of HP, but the cooldowns are still fairly high, sitting around about 8 or 9 seconds.
This 2CS though as well, be happy with themselves, maybe ticking himself off already. This bottom lane, interesting pair in between them. Vander and Celaver very aggressive, along with migxa and MrRalleZ also aggressive. Level 2 hit first. You can see the choppers, they do go down. Celaver, it did proc on towards him, and that cut the stun. Great transition there, great play from Super Hot Crew.
They lost no HP. That was one auto attack from Vander. Vander did not manage to stun anybody up, and thanks to those chompers actually catching Celaver, he's now been put on the back foot. He's used his potion. He does have barriers still available, but he can't afford to get caught again.
Vander with that stun ready and waiting to go. Trying desperately, look at this top lane, Mimer bullying it out as we expect with that Renekton, shoving him onto the tower. Xaxus is going to have to really play his heart out here to try and make sure he gets those last hits, having to use that bite.
So there's two options here for Impaler. Because Renekton beats Trundle early, I had actually anticipated the first ganks from Impaler to be against Trundle. Give Mimer a leg up in the lane and encourage him to start invading, especially considering the weakness of Vlad. Impaler, on the other hand, has now decided to gank this bottom lane. He does have flash, he does have red buff, so if they chain the stun into a death sentence, that could sentence a member of Roccat to death, but they decide against it.
Yeah, they backed away, thought about it, had that flash available, could have gone in there, but migxa was trying his best to play as passive as possible to see if they could try and bait them forward, but they were playing very cautious. They knew they had no ward in that bush, and they know that MrRalleZ and migxa almost certainly always want to get focused. Instead, it's Overpow in the mid lane. He's going down. Will there be an assist from Impaler? No. Moopz does it all himself.
Didn't even need him. Overpow was way too overextended there. He ate the full damage from the barrel and the body slam. We've seen the ignite ticking through, and I just think Overpow may be overestimating his ability to escape. That was a great hook.
The hook, the jumpers, Celaver so low, has to flash away. migxa flashes away as well. Vander's now getting a beating in his backside, and he's going to get forced back. Look at Celaver. Had to use that barrier, and he's got no health left.
migxa was threading the needle there between the minion wave, lands it onto Celaver and pulls him backwards. So now migxa and MrRalleZ they've controlled that Annie. They're not afraid of her early lane presence thanks to the stun, and because of the lead they built up, they've got Vander now.
Vander this time around, the Rockets come back through once again. The chompers did not go down this time though. MrRalleZ won't follow it through, tries to land that zap on Celaver. Look at this, jungler coming in. Jankos has to be there to help them out. No jump, of course, available from Impaler yet. Still only level 4.
Now, I'm so happy that we see the aggressive lane from migxa and MrRalleZ working out. Because they like to get in the face, they like to control the tempo of that lane. As long as migxa continues to land those great hooks, they're going to be able to continue doing this one. MrRalleZ got nearly double the CS of Celaver. We see the strength of Mimer. He's already farming between lanes because he's not afraid of Vladimir Roan at this level. He knows that Wukong was bottom, he's seen him in lane, and Mimer just uses all of that information, goes for a quick wave, and makes Xaxus a little more uncomfortable.
Teleporting just out of vision as well, so he's backing off. Xaxus not really too sure where he is. VandeRnoob was picked up by Celaver in that bottom lane, but as you mentioned, double the CS for MrRalleZ there. They have just shoved that wave and backed off this time around, so Celaver will try and get some of that farm back. Big differences. MrRalleZ going to go back to see what he goes with. It's going to be a double Dorn's Blade, which obviously he had one already, and the VandeRnoob as well as a ward.
So we're going to get some more of that sustain in the lane and really just already have an additional Dorns over Celaver. I think the story of that lane has all been about migxa. He's landed multiple hooks onto Celaver. Celaver not necessarily using his relentless pursuit to get out of range, and he's on a comfort champion. He's on a champion that has been denied from him in the past, and we'll see if he can make his way back up. Right now, Moopz at level 6 has that cast available. No ultimate, he's going on Overpow.
Belly slam, he's got the barrel to roll out there as well. He's putting a lot of damage on Overpow, just really bullying him out there. Has got explosive cask available, don't forget. You can just punt him in towards the tower at any moment. One
of the best things to do for Overpow is land the belly slam, and then from the body slam, from point blank range, then put down the explosive cask, because the travel time, it's a very quick cast, and if you can catch Overpow before he goes into his Sanguine Pool or his flash, much more damage.
Look at Impaler going towards that red invade. Jankos is there. They may well go face to face here. Instead, he's going to pass him by. He's got Xaxus up at the top there, but look at this Mimer. He's just above in his golems. He's ready to join this fight if and when needed. And remember, the mid lane, Overpower was taken low. He's actually back to full health. It's going to be Jankos. They jump on. They do manage to get the stun on towards him. Mimer tries to head the right direction, but it's not going to be enough. Jankos, will he stick around?
That was the exact play that helped them beat Gambit. Now Vander's in trouble.
Vander's in trouble, gets flayed in and hooked in. MrRalleZ putting the damage down. The choppers don't land. The zap just gets sidestepped. Good damage once again, and Vander forced back.
So migxa and MrRalleZ took an opportunity to get damage on Vander, but it left Celaver untouched. He continually landed auto attacks over and over from the sides. To go back to the invade, when Impaler played Vi and Mimer was on Renekton against Gambit, they kept invading the red buff. They kept invading Gambit's red, controlling the jungle. It seems to be a bit of the game plan right now. There is deep vision on Roccat's side of the jungle, so SUPA HOT CREW will be aware of the movements when they're there, and it's going to allow Moopz and Mimer to roam around. Impaler now going to attempt to steal blue, it's not there, just respawns, and he's got position on Celaver and Vander if he goes in behind them.
I think Jankos is expecting this. He was heading towards counter, and look at this. Moopz is going straight towards his own blue. He's going to take his own blue. Impaler's taken away Roccat's blue. Great start from SUPA HOT CREW here.
I want to see if Impaler goes for a gank. He's got level 6, he's got the Skyfall available. If he lands on Celaver and Vander's head, this could be another kill for SUPA HOT CREW. It looks like he's positioning himself within range. We'll have to see if he does decide to dive. As we continue to look at Mimer, he's just farming between the turrets. He's going to get caught up by Jankos, actually.
No, Jankos, they know he's there. He's just past the ward, which is why Mimer just walks himself away. He's safe as houses right now. And like you mentioned, this bottom lane almost certainly will be a gank. Who's it going to be for? It's going to come out. It's going to be Celaver. He's caught alone on the turret. Tries to use the culling, but it's countered by the minions. Quick jump on. He goes down. Super Mega Death Rocket. But that was a great turnaround there by Vander. That should not have happened, MrRalleZ.
Definitely not. Vander jumps in, lands the stun into MrRalleZ. MrRalleZ was actually tanking up the turret the whole time. Celaver was able to juke and dance around SUPA HOT CREW long enough to get a couple extra turret hits. So that allows at least one kill on the board, but the kill does go to the support. So at the end of the day, SUPA HOT CREW, they get some damage on the tower. They do get themselves a kill on that jungle Pantheon. It's going to allow them to get a little bit more power and maybe get some more ganks going.
Definitely not ideal for MrRalleZ there this time around. Barrel not going to land on towards Overpow, means he can immediately walk in and try and get some poke back on towards Moopz. But Moopz himself, as I say, did go for that blue buff of his own. So big fat man didn't actually pick it up. He went over towards it, but didn't go for it. So we'll see whether he goes for that in a second. So that's actually available right now.
Yeah, he was making sure that nobody was there to challenge. If the blue buff had been started by Roccat, he has the steal potential thanks to his barrel and his ultimate. But looking at Mimer right now, he's going for some more deep wards. He's only 6 CS ahead of Mimer, Xaxus rather. And we've seen no jungle pressure in this top lane. We're starting to get to the point where Xaxus' Trundle can begin to challenge. They're even on items in terms of chain vest armor. You see double Doran's as opposed to Doran's shield and Doran's blade. But once Trundle start hitting a level 11, level 12, spend some of that gold, they can actually start fighting and trading with Renekton.
We'll see which way Mimer goes with that build. At the moment it looks like it will be the Sunfire Cape first. Of course we have seen the Tiamat coming out from both the likes of Mimer and Xaxus on Trundles, Renektons. So we'll see which one they favour so far. MrRalleZ has returned back to the bottom lane, continuing that farming session going. Still kept himself that 20+ CS advantage over Celaver.
It hasn't equated to any more items right now though. And I think that MrRalleZ has backed away. They're going to kill those double golems. I want to see if they're going to defend this bottom lane before deciding to spend more money. They're probably sitting on a decent amount of gold. There you go, 1,400 for MrRalleZ to the 1,200 to Celaver. And just get themselves towards that BF sword and then start to fight. Grand Skyfall is once again available, as is the Super Mega Death Rocket for MrRalleZ. So they could try that combination. Impaler has spent all of his ganks, all of his time in this bottom lane.
Yeah, Jankos has been farming quite well as well. You can see 54 to 38 while Impaler's been looking for those ganks. We do see still with Impaler with that level advantage up because he's been getting the more important kills and now actually he's lingering around the top half of the jungle. Could go for top, could go for mid.
Yeah, it feels like Impaler's a little split on decisions. He actually pinged in the mid lane, now he's roaming top. Once again, maybe going to the middle lane. Not 100% sure where there's a kill potential. Thanks to Overpow going a little further, they may see something on Vlad. Sanguine Pool is available, so is Flash. Overpow's in trouble.
He's going to run down here. Moopz is trying to bait it in. He may well have done just that. He's going to try and Sanguine Pool. He's not going to get away. He's not even got close to the tower. Belly Slam doesn't land though. Explosive Cat's not being used. What? It does finally go down, but it was way late. And you know what? That Hemo Plague is going to have a good pop, but it's not enough.
Not enough ability power just yet. Moopz had us both worried for a second.
Yeah, just
was
a little.
Was it available? Was it not available? Ends up connecting. I think with the exception of one barrel not landing there, they managed to get the kill. That was a very good recall bait. Overpow fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. He just wanted to get another transfusion, interrupt Moopz, and ended up costing him his life. That's the second kill of the game, and a pretty good gank by Impaler.
And it was actually pretty obvious recall bait, honestly, when you look at it. It's like when Overpower's just shoved the whole wave in his face and he's just like, well, I'm not going to take that wave, I'm just going to recall. It's like, maybe something is up here. But of course, when you smell blood, which is what Vladimir did, he does try and go for it. MrRalleZ on this bottom lane, BF sword has been picked up, whereas Celaver yet to go back. Big power spike here for MrRalleZ.
Yeah, the thing about that, that mid lane play is that Overpow gave up first blood to a similar position. He was overextended, he underestimated the damage that Moopz could put out, and it cost him his life. In that situation, he underestimated the lane presence of a Pantheon. I think maybe anticipating, hey, I've got the whole Grand Skyfall channel time to worry about, and Pantheon didn't need that. He just walked into the lane. So now, Impaler's 2-0-0. He's once again trying to get some vision. He stole the last blue buff, if you remember correctly, and the last red buff. Let's see if they get any more buffs this time around.
Sidestep in the barrel, and again, Impaler heading down towards his bottom lane. Jankos is there, This could be a full 3-on-3, or will it be a 4? Because it's going to be the blue buff steal, and it's going to be Moopz this time around. No, may just go for the smite here, I feel Impaler. Yes, he does. And now Jankos, he's in all sorts of trouble. Oh, he's going to pop the Cyclone, but he don't think he realizes that Moopz was there, and just gets obliterated. Now VandeRnoob, Cyclone traps coming on towards him. MrRalleZ puts the damage back down on him, does get the execute. It's Moopz with a second.
Roccat going in 1 point, it's not over!
Oh, Impaler takes the... Wow! I couldn't even speak. The lantern pull from migxa. Impaler jumps on him, stun locks him in there. There's nothing he could do. Mimer's in trouble now. He's being chased out. Overpow coming in towards him, but look at him. He's just running them, giving a merry dance around the red buff.
That was a very, very good play from SUPA HOT CREW. They had the numbers advantage in the pit. Jankos engaged, completely not considering the rest of SUPA HOT CREW were there. He gave up the first kill in and around the pit. Then, of course, just a chain of bad events. Vander gets caught out. So this is the start. Look at the minimap. Jankos forgets, hey, where's Moopz? There's no vision there for Jankos. I think he maybe misunderstood or miscalculated where Moopz was going to be. He's the first to fall. That's a very good flame choppers from MrRalleZ. And this is the moment. This is an LCS big play. The lantern into stun. Look at that. Flay, stun. Celaver can't even get an auto attack off. He just gets dropped. 3 blue and dragon for SUPA HOT CREW.
The irony is Impaler had the ignite running on him, so that shield helped stop the ignite as well. It just did so much. Mimer, well, he just saw him having a little run around that top lane. He actually went back and got himself a second Doran blade there, I believe. So my eyes don't deceive me.
So one of the things about that top lane matchup is that while all of that dragon shenanigans was going on, Mimer was actually losing a trade to Xaxus. Mimer was being chased through the jungle. Now, we didn't see the build-up to the fight, but Xaxus was chasing Mimer down, forcing him out of his jungle. And, you know, Xaxus now got that Sunfire Cape. He's level 11. We talked about how he can begin to challenge Mimer, steal away those defensive stats. And we'll see how Xaxus deals with this Renekton, because the power imbalance is no longer there.
Well, of course, the proxy farming or farming between towers, whatever you'd like to call it, Mimer has won out that lane phase, took that tower down first because all the pressure was constantly being applied. Xaxus just returning in there. One big difference, though, between these two top laners, Xaxus does have teleport, so he's going to be split pushing all day long.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the key to Roccat getting back in control. As it stands right now, Roccat are 3,000 gold down. They haven't touched a dragon. Impaler's in a little, but he's in a lot of trouble.
You get caught out, Cyclone goes down, Heaver Blade will follow. He's not going to get the lantern in time. And that is a second kill for Roccat.
So SUPA HOT CREW's Impaler takes a page out of Rockat's book, underestimating the positioning of Roccat. He just invaded. There was no vision for him. It didn't work out at all. Now Celaver is low. He's got the double buffs next to their kill, and that's a flash play!
The Cologne was used and wasted automatically, and now they could go for a double kill here. Tibbers goes down, but I feel that the choppers, oh, he has to flash them.
That was brilliant! Flash play from migxa. And yesterday, migxa and MrRalleZ engaged at different times. Today, not the case. The moment migxa went in, MrRalleZ followed, and it worked out in his favor. 7 kills to 2, SUPA HOT CREW are in control.
Great play there in the bottom lane. Once again, MrRalleZ and migxa, they are a scary duo combo. Been dominating this lane, honestly. And you know, we've talked so much about Vander, some of the big plays he's been making, but migxa really has been stepping up his game lately. And Celaver alongside him is honestly been a little bit flailing the last few weeks.
Celaver has definitely been struggling since week 4 or week 5. He's still playing the likes of Caitlyn and Lucian. Even though he's got Lucian now, it's not necessarily working out. Now, we did see Jankos moving into the mid lane, but almost on cue, Impaler was there as well. Impaler is doing a good job today reading his opponents. Let's see if they can get into CC. Even smites the big ray.
Yeah, just walks in, smites it. Mimer pushing Xaxus away here, bullying them out, fighting over every little advantage in this top lane, and they're having their own little game going on in this top lane. Honestly, they've not been involved in any of the action that's been going on for the SUPA HOT CREW and Roccat.
Now, thanks to Mimer actually having a Spirit Visage, he's an item up on Xaxus, so to speak. You've seen him bullying him a little bit. That Sunfire Cape damage is being reduced thanks to the Spirit Visage, and the sustain from Cologne working in his favor. Now we do see Jankos in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get interrupted by Spirit, and the rest of Mimer just coming in from behind. They want this in a turret.
Mimer kind of walking in there is like, should I interrupt him? I should have just let him go. It might be better if we let him go because we kind of want this tower. Yeah,
there's no toggle on Sunfire Cape, so it was going to interrupt. I'm afraid there was no choice in the matter. Now, migxa has had awesome initiation so far. Let's see. Hook. It connects!
And on towards Celaver. Oh, but they blow him back away. I don't believe it. The zap had landed on him as well, so they just did the complete role reversal.
So, unfortunately for SUPA HOT CREW, the relentless pursuit came out, and Celaver was able to just dash. so the barrel landed behind him, knocked him to safety. Celaver gets away. That was a very, very close call. There was no flash available for Celaver, so he's going to be counting his lucky days right now. The wave is moving in, and SUPA HOT CREW, they haven't backed off. They still want to stick on this turret.
Don't forget that Explosive Cask has got a pretty quick reset. Cyclone potentially coming in from Jankos. He's going to catch it. He catches 3 members. Hemoplate stacks up on top of it. Jankos taken very low, and he will go down. It's Impaler that gets the kill in there. Teleport comes down. Xaxus is going to join this fight. It was 1 kill for Vander there, but a quick revenge kill. Overpow going down. A 2-for-1 for the SUPA HOT CREW.
2-for-1 at the end of the day, and what we actually seen was Impaler and Mimer trying to jump on Jankos, keeping him from causing any more trouble. SUPA HOT CREW have not backed away. This tower is so close to going down. There's the Skyfall.
Now they're going to just run away from this one. Oh, Tibbers, 50 gold for MrRalleZ as well.
So another tower secured. SUPA HOT CREW have got 4 towers to 0. They've got the dragons. They're going to steal another blue buff. This is the 3rd blue buff in a row that we've seen stolen. I'm going to cast mine. I'm pretty confident on that one.
It's literally been the very first one. That's the only one they've had so far in this game. So far, Overpow hasn't even been close to getting.
This is incredibly interesting as well, because they put a lot of emphasis on stealing that blue buff away. When you consider Overpow's Vladimir is not necessarily a blue buff champion, and yeah, okay, I guess it would help Wukong out if he stuck with it, but as it stands, SUPA HOT CREW have just got lane control in that area of the map. They've got vision superiority, and when Dragon respawns in 15 seconds, they should have a good item advantage to challenge for this Dragon.
It really has been an amazing turnaround for SUPA HOT CREW, an amazing season, in fairness. They joined the LCS 2 days before it started, of course. We were there yourself, me and QuickShot, playing against, I'm trying to think who it was. It was Meal Makers, of course, the other Polish powerhouse, which Roccat actually do kind of have a little bit of a rivalry to. But themselves, you know, really have turned it around. They went 1-5 in the opening 2 weeks of the LCS. 2 of those losses, of course, were to Roccat in those opening 2 weeks. But this game, you can see how much they've progressed over these last 7 weeks.
Yes, and I agree on an individual level, on a team play level, but SUPA HOT CREW still have one big area they need to work on. If they don't win their lane, they struggle to get back into a game. In this matchup, it's worked perfectly. Impaler's had some very good ganks in bottom, and MrRalleZ and migxa have just outdone them. Dragon's going to be secured. Roccat are late to this, but it looks like Xaxus wants to play. They've got to be very careful. Look at the barrel damage in Jankos. Here's the Skyfall.
Skyfall going to land. Where's he going to go? Not going to find anyone at the moment. Coming in that side is Mimer. They've caught him in a hell of a situation here. You can see Jankos just getting shredded. Impaler does go down. Xaxus doing what he can, but he's tanking out 4 members of SUPA HOT CREW. Explosive Cask again does not find his target. The Rocket does, but it's not enough.
Not this time round. 1-for-1 junglers traded on both sides of the map, but very importantly, MrRalleZ still has a full HP bar. Vander does have Tibbers available, unless that's just the bear that's been thrown down. At this point in time, SUPA HOT CREW, they jumped in on Roccat after Roccat started the fight. It didn't work in their favor, but what we did see, Xaxus survived, Overpow survived, and they got themselves a kill.
It was Tibbers, he was up. I was just off at the side though, but 4-0-2 now for Moopz. When your carries start getting fed, it's a big problem for the opposition team. If the kills are spread, okay, you may be able to get away with it. But again, we're seeing Impaler doing great and Moopz doing great.
The thing that Roccat need to try to do now is not give up any more towers. Because they're 7,000 gold down, we already see that in that 7k mismatch, they actually went even in the fights. They traded 1 kill for 1. Yes, they were running backwards. They also didn't have Celaver with them. Celaver wasn't with them at the time of that fight breaking out. But because of the fact that Vlad and Trundle are now scaling, Hemoplague plus Cyclone does a lot of damage. There are tools available to Roccat to close that gold gap. But they need to stop hemorrhaging gold, because that's what's going to make it even more difficult and more insurmountable.
Maybe carries, of course. You know, we talked about Celaver. He's still been chasing that 20 CS gap the entire game. MrRalleZ really is doing a fantastic job of keeping just that little bit ahead of him. Vander does manage to get a ward down, which delights the crowd, despite the fact it has been a 15-kill game in 22 minutes. Tibbers goes down, Impaler's getting caught out. He's just going to turn and jump on Vander. Not a lot they can do about that one.
No, SUPA HOT CREW couldn't pick the fight. They didn't have Moopz with him. He's their most fed carry. He wasn't in the area, and that's the same mistake Impaler made earlier. Impaler was invading blue buff, he didn't have the vision, it cost him his life. Now, he goes to clear out a ward without the full information available. There wasn't enough deep vision on Rockat's side of the jungle, and I think Super Hot Crew need to play a little bit more cautious than that. They don't want to just give up kills uncontested.
Overpow's just shown himself down the bottom now. They haven't really got migxa with them. They're trying to put pressure. Look at this. You can see Jankos just off the side, potentially going for it. Mimer and Xaxus as well, they're just going to play with one another in the top lane. They're not really part of this team game at the moment. It is Jankos that was looking to try and create something in Vander.
So at this point in time, what Super Hot Crew are trying to do is get vision control, force Roccat to maybe come to them. We've seen the same thing happening in the previous game where Alliance had more towers down than SK, but they couldn't push. They couldn't control the map because it was very, very risky to do so. Super Hot Crew are littering wards across Rockat's jungle, and they're only pushing on the side of the map where they have more vision to play with. Right now, Super Hot Crew have grouped up in the top lane. They've got all 5 members, and they should get a lot of tower damage before all 5 members of Roccat arrive.
Yeah, Overpow only just getting back here, and you can see that tower already taken down to half hit points. They may well be able to just tank this one out. Mimer's going to try and tank it, and you can see Xaxus going in. Flash tippers on towards Moopz. Moopz caught out there. Does get away, though. And now you can see the box coming down. Great work from migxa, and Hemo playing is only going to land on 2 members. This is a good disengage from Super Hot Crew, but Roccat is continuing to chase. Overpow may be going too deep. The explosive cast effectively forcing them away. Death Rocket has been used by MrRalleZ. They're going to go. Here comes the man drop. It's going to catch on towards Jankos. Jankos has to use the decoy. Vander gets caught out, but actually almost baited them in there. It is going to be 1 kill. Can they get a second? No. Everybody's so low on Roccat, but this could be the tower.
2-for-1 difference. If Roccat had found that fight earlier in the game, it could have gone so much better. But because they're playing from such a big goal deficit, they have to make up all that additional, itemization stats that they don't have. They managed to get a quick kill on migxa, and Overpow was just too far forward. He doesn't have any real survivability. He's got a little bit of lifesteal. He's got that Giant's Belt, but doesn't have the likes of a Zhonya's Hourglass, which would have helped him stay alive for longer. Super Hot Crew get the tower, the additional kills, and they played the retreating fight fairly well.
Yeah, and he hasn't really got a major item yet either. I mean, when you compare him to what Moopz has got with that 602, Rabadon's Death Cap, the Thieves' Holy Grail, almost got that Void Staff completed. He's up against the Haunting Guys and a, I can never remember the dad.
Hextech Revolver?
Hextech Revolver, that's the one.
That's nothing.
Nothing at all.
It is chalk and cheese between these 2 mid laners. The amount of damage that Moopz is able to put out and the fact that it's AoE damage, those barrels melted Roccat as they grouped up. And that's something that, we haven't necessarily touched on too much. Vlad is a fairly short-range caster. He's trying to secure his first blue buff of the game. Can Moopz steal it? No. Smite it away, actually. So Jankos is the one that grabs it.
So he still didn't get it.
But this is something that, we haven't necessarily touched on too much. Trundle, Wukong, and Vlad, even Annie as well, really want to get close to you. Really want to get in range. Their spellcast range for Vlad and Annie is fairly short. Because Moopz is playing Gragas, who can disperse them all very quickly, and because his barrels hit so hard, it's going to hit multiple members of Roccat. They need to get much more magic resist if they want to deal with those sustained 5v5 fights.
Yeah, Overpow just losing 1/3 of his health from 1 barrel there of Moopz. So again, they have pinged this bottom tower, and Roccat are not there, frankly. There is only Xaxus close by. Now we're starting to see Celaver coming across. They're going to have a minion wave here before the whole Roccat team can react.
And very wisely for Super Hot Crew, Dragon's going to respawn in 10 seconds. So Super Hot Crew can challenge for the tower, maybe force a fight. If they win a team fight, they can roll back and get a safe Dragon. There's very little risk for them in this play. They've got vision of the blue buff area. They just moved in to try and challenge, and I think it's just very smart play. League of Legends by the numbers. They're going for every single inner turret. This is the last remaining inner turret. They're finally on it. Let's see how Roccat deal with it. They're not engaging yet. That's a great barrel.
That's the explosive casket's going to force many of them low. And look at Overpow. His hit points are too low. They're backing away. That's another turret. Super Hot Crew.
This is something that Copenhagen Wolves did. When Kautard was playing Gragas, he would use his explosive cast for burst damage and to get the opposing team off the tower. And Moopz landed it perfectly. Kicked away multiple members of Roccat. Too much damage has been taken for them to engage. So the tower secured uncontested with minimal cost. Dragon secured as well. And that's going to give them the 1/3 of the game and an 11,000 gold lead.
They are in dominant form right now, the Super Hot Crew over Roccat here. Like you say, that 11,000 gold lead really is transitioning across the whole team. Giant gold advantages for everyone involved here. You can see, 3,000 gold for almost every single lane at the moment. Big advantage. Super Hot Crew are looking good. 6-0, and Roccat, they've got to start getting themselves just 1 turret, let alone many.
Roccat need a lot more than just 1 turret, I'm afraid. The thing that 3,000 gold boost that each member of Super Hot Crew has means that when Impaler gets caught out and gives up those kills, it's much less damaging because their opponents need about 10 of those each. Like 2,000-3,000 gold on each of the members to make up that additional item. You got a Blade of the Rune King Sunfire Cape versus Warden's Mail, Giant's Belt, Sunfire Cape, Spirit Visage. Even the junglers, Impaler's got, you know, Locker of the Iron Star, got a Giant Spell, Brutalizer, Void Staff being completed for Moopz, Lost Whisper, as well as the Static Shiv. That's a full Static Shiv item ahead. Celaver's just picked up the Phage. I mean, there's such a big difference between these teams, and Super Hot Crew got a nice safety buffer with them.
And of course, those 3 pink wards all being carried by the Super Hot Crew only spells one thing. They want to take Baron. They're going to clear it out. I think they've just put the one in the pit. They're going to put one just behind the red buff. We'll see where the final one ends up, because they are taking control of the jungle. They're taking all the outer turrets. You know, it's kind of the obvious objective right now.
Now, one of the things that's so great for Super Hot Crew, because of the burst damage that Moopz can put out, if Super Hot Crew force a fight on their terms, if they start it, Xaxus needs to channel his teleport, meaning Moopz is going to have those couple of seconds to deal the damage. Moopz is playing zone. He's sitting in the jungle while the rest of Super Hot Crew tank the Baron up and start it. Roccat need to catch somebody off guard. They've got a tower, but I think this Baron's going to go completely uncontested.
Yeah, that's how Baron going down. Now they're going to finally make the move. Vander comes in, but he's caught with the explosive cask. It's too late. The hook on Jankos straight away. Has to use the Cyclone to get away. The barrel rolls in there. They're going to lock him up. The belly slam finishes the deal.
So great. Migxa flash to put the box down in the slow. Now Overpow's in trouble.
Overpow going to get caught. Oh, has to flash away from that zap. That would have been the death of him almost certainly. Rockat's continuing to push the bottom lane though. Xaxus taking himself an inner turret. He's taking out the outer turret. He's going to keep going for that inhibitor. Super Hot Crew have to react here.
Yeah, Xaxus is making the best of a bad situation. He knows that he can't really add a whole lot to the team fight, so he's trying to get as much map presence as possible. The inhibitor's going down.
But the problem is, if he stays down there, Super Hot Crew can push for the win here. They're just going to keep on driving through. There's only 3 members of Roccat here, and of course, without that jungler, without that Cyclone, they can go for it. They're going to back off. This is a mistake. They should keep going. They're going to lose that inhibitor turret.
They are going to lose the inhibitor turret, but there's not enough to work with on the side of Super Hot Crew. Jankos had just respawned. The death timers were not particularly high. Now Xaxus is on the inhibitor. If Roccat can interrupt members of Super Hot Crew from getting to them, well, he's going to back away and I think play that a little bit safely. I don't think Super Hot Crew could have finished if they had played the Nexus game. If they said, we're on the turrets, I think that Xaxus would have got the inhibitor and Super Hot Crew would have got maybe 1 turret at best before being forced backwards.
So as it stands, great counter by Roccat, despite the fact they lost out and really didn't get involved in that Baron. They tried to get close, but it was already picked off before they even got there within the reach. They have managed to take themselves 3 of those turrets all along the bottom lane, and more importantly, that inhibitor turret, which gives Roccat an opening maybe to sneak into next time for Xaxus.
It's going to be so difficult for Roccat to pull this one back. With super minions pouring on the middle lane, with the fact that Super Hot Crew are going to be happy to play the siege game, Roccat have got no wave clear. I mean, Roccat have got auto attacks from Lucian. That is it. Wukong melee, Trundle melee, and he needs to get in close range. So if Super Hot Crew can force Roccat to defend under a tower, Gragas is going to make their life a living hell, because it's going to be so difficult to get those minions away. And I think Super Hot Crew should probably group up and stop pushing down one of those lanes. They've got a very strong advantage while Baron's on.
We'll see what they do. At the moment, they are shoving all 3 of the lanes. That's what they want to go for. And you know, it's interesting because Roccat, one of those teams, actually we've been seeing the 1-3-1 split so often from, and yet actually when you think back to it, probably the last 2 weeks we haven't seen it. Sure as hell, they're losing them games.
Yeah, and part of the reason for that is they're not doing well in their laning phase. In order to get to a 1-3-1, you need to be able to challenge your opponents. Be similar items, similar levels, similar control. And when you've fallen behind early on, you can't afford to because you're just going to die. You're going to get caught down and run because your opponents have better items. Now we do see Super Hot Crew sieging up, using the Zap for poke, using Gragas for poke as well. Mimer also pushing down the mid lane. I think, look at that, half of the inhibitor turret has already lost HP because MrRalleZ is just melting it. That is so much damage.
Now catching on towards him. Oh, it's a good flash. Timbers isn't enough though, because they'd only got on Moopz and Mimer. Mimer's tanking all of the damage right now. The explosive gas. Wow, it just obliterates Roccat. The Hemoblade's going to go down, but isn't enough. Xaxus gets away with a sliver of health. MrRalleZ trying to look for that execute. Impaler, you go way deep on this one.
He got it.
He gets the kill, but he's tanking out 2 towers, and they're going to make him pay for it. But the rest of Super Hot Crew, how are they going to be able to react to it? They're getting towards the inhibitor. This is dangerous play. Jankos goes in. Cyclone is not available, but he's just trying to beat them down.
So Super Hot Crew actually losing one from them, and Mimer's in trouble.
Mimer's caught out, takes the lantern, gets away. They could turn this one around, just waiting on the cooldown cooldowns of Moopz. Remember that explosive cast? It's not that long a cooldown. It's continuing to back off. Jankos is going to run.
The Baron regen is working in SUPA HOT CREW's favor. Jankos is caught.
Belly slam on Jankos. He does get away though. Quickly uses that decoy. They stun on towards him. But look at Mimer goes in. Belly slam on towards him. Another dash away. But MrRalleZ executes Celaver.
Now MrRalleZ is on the Nexus turrets. He's got the minigun out, and this could be the game for SUPA HOT CREW.
He's going to mow down those Nexus turrets. You can see Cyclone is off cooldown any second now. Jankos tries to go, but gets flayed away by migxa straight away. Who catches on him? That's going to be the Cyclone. Is it enough? Moopz is running away. Overpow desperately chasing on towards him. The Flame Chopper's doing a great job for MrRalleZ. The Pillar of Ice does catch on towards him. Mimer takes himself the sacrificial lamb. They back off, but that base is wide open.
Nexus turret down, 2 inhibitors destroyed. SUPA HOT CREW using the last few seconds of that Baron regen to keep Roccat down. There is no turrets left for Roccat to work with. There is no room for error. This is now up to SUPA HOT CREW. Back, buy, and if they decide to regroup on that mid inhibitor, there's very little that Roccat can do to stop them. You got to give them props though. It was a pretty good defense. It was a decent fight, but because they're so far behind, it was always going to be against them.
SUPA HOT CREW, of course, 16-9 up now, 63,000 gold to 49,000, and of course they've taken that Baron, taken away 4 dragons now. SUPA HOT CREW really taking every single objective, 10 turrets to 3. Yes, 10, because that base is wide open, and I really don't know what Roccat are going to be able to do to defend out this siege. You can see they're just backing off. They bought themselves a whole plethora of items, and now they're just going to farm up and push those lanes.
Warmog's completed for migxa. He has been phenomenal this game. All of his death sentences have been very good. His flash flays, the box usage, it's always in the perfect moments. I don't feel like migxa is wasting any of his abilities this game, and the rest of the team, they're just closing it out. They're doing what they need to do to win the team fights, focusing down the targets, and what I think is very key is that Xaxus and Jankos have never been able to disrupt SUPA HOT CREW's backline together. As soon as Wukong goes in with his ultimate, he's shut down, he's zoned, he's controlled, he's locked up by the SUPA HOT CREW and killed.
Just pinging on towards that top lane. Someone's saying, hey, should we push it? Mimer's probably like, anyone want to push this? Like, no, we don't need to. We have a giant advantage. Let's just take this damn inhibitor down. You can see they're all pushing in towards it. Xaxus tries to go aggressive. Everyone's trying to poke off the side. Mimer's getting a lot of poke on him here. Now,
that's thanks to the Liandry's Torment that's been completed by Overpow. Thanks to all the hit points that Mimer's got built up, he's been shredded by that item. Roccat need to go God. Like Xaxus has been caught, they're going in.
Oh, they're going to go on to Xaxus. I'm not too sure on that one, but they're putting a hell of a lot of damage down on him. MrRalleZ, he's going to get Jankos in there. Cyclone's running, but he's just going to get dropped down. And now they're going to go towards it. Hemoblade does his job, takes down migxa, but a support towards a jungler. A jump from Impaler towards Celaver. Nobody else following it up. Overpow gets a little bit too deep. He's not going to be able to get away with that ball. It flashes away. And now Roccat, well, they are in all sorts of trouble. SUPA HOT CREW going to push on the base.
SUPA HOT CREW have super minions on the Nexus. They've killed Overpow. Now SUPA HOT CREW are trying to get the auto attacks on the Nexus.
Barrel goes down, Impaler running interference. MrRalleZ getting on towards VandeRnoob. Xaxus doing what he can, but that Nexus is so low. And now Xaxus is going to get picked off. The SUPA HOT CREW take down Roccat. And well, would you believe it? Roccat tied again because they've lost as well as Gambit. But it's the SUPA HOT CREW with a fantastic victory here, taking themselves revenge for those 2 losses in the early 2 weeks.
There was a ticking time bomb on the side of Roccat. They had super scaling champions, the Trundle and the Vlad, but they gave up too much too early on, and unfortunately for Roccat, SUPA HOT CREW, they got multiple kills on Moopz. MrRalleZ and migxa dominated that duo lane, and Impaler was there when he needed to be. In the early stages of the game, they controlled blue buff, they got a lot of dragons, and it was very good play from the SUPA HOT CREW.
Fantastic play, especially that bottom lane. And of course, we got to give a massive mention to Moopz. They locked in Gragas as their first pick, 9-0-4. I think he's proven why it's been banned away from him so often.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, he's got to play it. That's his 9th time, his 6th win. So he's got a 66% win rate on that champion. His average KDA is 3.5, so he's blown that number out the water. How can teams not respect that? 9 out of 16 games. It has been banned recently, but leading up to it now, Moopz has got his hands on it once again, and it has to be banned next week.
And do you think it's maybe a little bit of overconfidence coming out from Overpow in that mid lane? We've seen it from mid laners before, how players, they get baited into thinking, I can beat this guy with this champion. Vladimir being pulled out, really ineffective in this game.
Yeah, completely. And it's because of the scaling time that Vladimir needs. He takes too long to level up. He offered nothing in the lane. I mean, Overpow got caught overextended, gave up first blood. Then got caught overextended, underestimating the gank power of Impaler. And we see maybe one good Hemo Plague. I don't feel like that Vladimir had a positive impact. Trundle, Wukong, on the other hand, they had good moments. They were part of the reason those team fights were drawn out. But a different mid laner, maybe a Ziggs, maybe an Orianna. Orianna was banned. Maybe a Kha'Zix even. Jump onto MrRalleZ. He's squishy. You can kill him, get a reset, get out.
Let's talk about the Pantheon once again as well, because another pick, another win. The only loss so far this week, ironically, was for Roccat, but that was countered by that Nocturne.
Yeah.
Maybe Jankos should look to Nocturne himself.
You know, I think it's an interesting one. The Nocturne play, Impaler actually failed with it yesterday. Yes. He did not counter Pantheon. Then we did see Amazing doing the same. In this game, I'm not even sure if it would have helped. And my thinking for this is, every time Jankos actually did try to gank with Wukong, Impaler was waiting for him. Impaler was there. He didn't really even need his Grand Skyfall because he was walking around the map. And I think in this game, Impaler read Jankos and Roccat very well. Yesterday, he didn't. He didn't do a good performance. And it shows you how strong these teams can be depending on their jungler's individual performance.
Well, what a fantastic game for the Super Hot Crew. Shocks